grace is more, where grace is found, is where you are, and where you are, Lord, I am free. Holiness is Christ in me. Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. My one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. My one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. Teach my song. Teach my song to rise to you. When temptation comes my way, and when I cannot stand, I'll fall on you. Jesus, you're my hope and stay. Teach my song. Teach my song to rise to you. When temptation comes my way, and when I cannot stand, I'll fall on you. Jesus, you're my hope and stay. Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. My one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. My one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need my one defense, my one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. Who breaks the power of sin and darkness, whose love is mighty and so much stronger, the King of glory, the King above all kings, who breaks the whole earth with holy thunder and leaves us breathless in awe and wonder, the King of glory, the King above all kings. This is amazing grace. This is unfailing love, that you should take my place, that you would bear my cross. You laid down your life, that I would be set free. Whoa, Jesus, I sing for all that you've done for me. Who brings our chaos back into order, who makes the orphan a son and daughter, the King of glory, the King of glory, who rules the nations with truth and justice, shines like the sun in all its brilliance, the King of glory, the King above all kings. that you would bear my cross. You laid down your life, that I would be set free. Whoa, oh, Jesus, I sing for all that you've done for me. Worthy is the Lamb that was slain. Worthy is the King who conquered the grave. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy is the King who conquered the grave. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy is the King who conquered the grave. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy, worthy, worthy. This is amazing grace. This is unfailing love, that you would take my place, that you would bear my cross. You laid down your life, and I would be set free. Whoa, Jesus, I sing for all that you've done for me. It's amazing grace. This is amazing grace. This is unfailing love, that you would take my place, that you would bear my cross. You laid down your life, that I would be set free. Whoa, Jesus, I sing for all that you've done for me. Jesus, I sing. Jesus, I sing for all that you've done for me. Who am I that the highest King welcome me? I was lost, but he brought me in. Oh, his love for me. Oh, his love for me. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. Free at last, he has ransomed me. His grace runs deep. While I was a slave to sin, Jesus died for me. Yes, he died for me. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me and not against me. I am who you say I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I There's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house. In my Father's house. There's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. All the saints and angels bow before your throne. All the elders cast their crowns before the Lamb of God and sing. All the saints and angels. All the saints and angels bow before your throne. All the elders cast their crowns before the Lamb of God and sing, you're worthy of it all. You're worthy of it all. For from you are all things, and to you are all things. You deserve the glory. You're worthy. You're worthy of it all. You're worthy of it all. For from you are all things, and to you are all things. You deserve the glory. Day and night. Day and night, night and day, let incense rise. Day and night, night and day, let incense rise. Day and night, night and day, let incense rise. Day and night, night and day, let incense rise. You are worthy of it all. You're worthy of it all. For from you are all things, and to you are all things. You deserve the glory. You're worthy of it all. You're worthy of it all. For from you are all things, and to you are all things. You deserve the glory. Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you. Be gracious to you. Lord, turn his face toward you and give you peace. Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you. Be gracious to you. Lord, turn his face toward you and give you peace. be upon you to 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and their children, and their children. May his favor be upon you to 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and their children, and their children. May his presence go before you, and behind you, and beside you, all around you, and within you. He is with you, he is with you. May his presence go before you, and behind you, and beside you, all around you, and within you. He is with you, he is with you. In the morning, in the evening, in your coming and your going, in your weeping and rejoicing. He is for you, he is for you. In the morning, in the evening, in your coming and your going, in your weeping and rejoicing. He is for you, 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 he is for you. Amen. 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 Lord bless you. Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you. Be gracious to you. Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace. And give you peace.
Let's turn to Matthew chapter 5, shall we? Earlier in this chapter, Jesus said that he didn't come to destroy the law, but to fulfill it. Sermon on the Mount doesn't make keeping the law easier. It doesn't make it possible. In fact, if anything, it makes it more impossible. It was impossible before, but now it's even worse. In verse 20, he said that unless your righteousness exceeds the scribes and the Pharisees, you wouldn't enter the kingdom of heaven. The scribes were the theologians. They were the ones that taught the Pharisees. The Pharisees, there was only 7,000 of them in Israel at this time. They were dedicated to keeping the law, all the do's and all the don'ts. And yet Jesus said, unless your righteousness exceeds theirs, you're not going to make it. Wow, well, that's a heavy thing. But you have to go back to the very beginning. You have to go back to the Beatitudes. You cannot interpret the Sermon on the Mount unless you do it through the lens of the Beatitudes. Blessed are those who are poor in spirit. When we recognize our spiritual bankruptcy, then we will automatically start to mourn over our sin. Then it'll cause us to be meek. We'll have what energies, what power we have under control. We'll start to hunger and thirst more and more for God. Desire Him, desire His will. And it all starts out because we recognize that we are poverty-stricken when it comes to spirituality. It's only by God. And only that way can the Sermon on the Mount give you any comfort at all. It is the greatest sermon ever recorded. And I say recorded instead of just said because I've never heard the sermon that He gave the two disciples as they were walking on the road to Emmaus. But this is one that's recorded. The greatest. Over and over again, He's going to say, you've heard that I said. You have heard it said, but I tell you, showing His authority. This really gets rid of all of the scribes and the Pharisees' legal loopholes. Because one of the things that you have with people that are so stringent on keeping a law is they'll always find a loophole how that they don't have to keep it. The law is made for me to tell you what to do, not on how for me to live. And that's what Jesus is putting to rest. Let's look at this passage. You have heard that it said to those of old, you shall not murder, and whoever murders shall be in danger of judgment. But I say to you that whoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of judgment. And whoever says to his brother, Raca, shall be in danger of the council. But whoever says, you fool, shall be in danger of the hell fire. Therefore, if you bring your gift to the altar, and there remember that your brother has something against you, leave your gift there before the altar and go your way. First be reconciled to your brother, then come and offer your gift. Agree with your adversary quickly while you're on the way with him, lest your adversary deliver you to the judge hand you over to the officer, and you be thrown into prison. Surely I say to you, you will by no means get out of there till you have paid the last penny. You've heard that it was said of those of old, you shall not commit adultery. But I say to you that whoever looks at a woman to lust for her has already committed adultery with her in his heart. If your right eye causes you to sin, pluck it out. Cast it from you, for it's more profitable for you that one of your members perish than for your whole body to be cast into hell. And if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off, cast it from you. For it is more profitable for you that one of your members perish than your whole body be cast into hell. Furthermore, it's been said, whoever divorces his wife, let him give her a certificate of divorce. But I say to you, whoever divorces his wife for any reason, except sexual immorality, causes her to commit adultery. And whoever marries a woman who is divorced commits adultery. Again, you've heard it said of old, you shall not swear falsely, but shall perform your oaths to the Lord. But I say to you, do not swear at all, either by heaven, for it is God's throne, nor by the earth, for it is footstool, nor by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great King. Nor shall you swear by your head, because you cannot make one hair white or black. But let your yes be yes, and your no be no. For whatever is more than these is from the evil one. Very first verse we look at. You've heard that it was said of those of old, you shall not murder. Whoever murders will be in danger of judgment. Jesus is going to repeat this phrase 6 times in this sermon. Or at least an equivalent of, maybe not exactly, but it's very similar. Remember that it's saying, you have heard that it was said. Today you could say, you have read that. Because in those days, they didn't have a lot of copies of the Bible. They knew what they knew by hearing the word read in synagogue or something of that nature. They didn't have a whole bunch of resources like we have. So he said, you've heard it said, you shall not commit murder. You shall not murder. You shall not lie in wait. That's really what murder is. And then Jesus elaborates on that. But I say to you that whoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. Whoever says to his brother, Raca, shall be in danger of the council. Whoever says, you fool, shall be in danger of hellfire. Mr. T's in trouble. But I say to you that whoever's angry with his brother without a cause, Jesus' authority, I say to you. He knew the word. He knew the intent of what the word was to be. He also knew the loopholes that people would try to get by with. And we see one right off the bat. But let's look at raka. That actually is you worthless. It expresses the idea of someone's intellect. You idiot. Now I know that none of you think about this when you look at people. I mean, Jesus doesn't have the privilege of talking to these sanctified saints like I do, that never do anything wrong. I know I never look at anybody that and call them you idiot. That's why I don't drive. I walk everywhere I go. Oh. And then the next thing is not raka, is just you idiot, but that'll be danger of counsel. You'll be looked at, examined. Whoever says you fool shall be in danger of hellfire. Now, fool doesn't mean an idiot. Fool has the idea of judging someone's character. It has the indication of, when you see the word fool in the Bible, it is talking about people's lack of morality, the decisions they make morally. You reprobate. You waste of skin. Now, I know nobody ever thinks that. But really, when we say stuff like this, what we're saying is, I am better than you. There's something lacking in you. I'm glad I'm not like you. The Bible has a lot to say about anger, losing your temper. And it's strange how some people say that that's actually a good thing sometimes. Oh, man, you wouldn't believe this guy. He's such a hothead. And it's just, well, that's his nature. And again, it's one of those things that I've heard this on every single culture there is. Well, he's Irish, so you know that he's going to lose his cool. Well, he's Hispanic, and you know how hot-blooded they are. Well, he's Italian, and you know they just can't keep their peace. It doesn't matter what you are. Goes back to the same thing we were doing on Wednesday night. Yeah, you're human, so that's the way you are. But it's not an excuse. It's not a character trait. It's a sin. Proverbs 14:17 says, a quick-tempered man acts foolishly, and a man of wicked intentions is hated. You like being around somebody that can't keep their cool? That's always mad? You walk on eggshells because you just never know if you're going to set them off? You don't want to be like that, because you don't like to be around people like that. People don't want to be around you like that. But we look at this, and it says, well, yeah, but it says that anybody that hates his brother without a cause. I always have a cause. I don't just hate somebody because of no reason, or I'm not just angry with somebody because of no reason. They always give me a reason. They deserve my anger. I'm glad it says without a cause. Well, let's look at what a cause really is. We'll look at that a little bit. I read a statement that somebody said, everybody's a potential murderer. I've not killed anyone, but I frequently get satisfaction out of obituary notices. Ephesians 4:26 and 27 says, be angry and do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your wrath, nor give place to the devil. I knew a man that had made that commitment. To him and his wife, it said, we'll never go down, we'll never go let the sun go down on our anger. Well, one day they had, it was easy to say when they were newlyweds, but after they'd been together for a while, something happened, and they just got ticked off. And so he went out and he slept on the couch. And his wife didn't quite understand the whole thing, but she understood what was going on a little bit, and she says, you know, don't let the sun go down on your anger. So he fumed for a while. And finally, light bulb, click. Well, I didn't get mad until after the sun went down, so I've got another 24 hours. Yeah, that's not it. Because notice it says, don't let the sun go down on your wrath, nor give place to the devil. The devil loves for strife. He loves for us to lose our cool. Shows that we're more like him than we are like God. Be slow in your anger. Don't let it fester. There are some people that are hotheads. They get angry instantly. And then there's some that let it seep for a while, and they dwell, and they get madder and madder as time goes on. Neither one is good. Neither one is good. Because anger will destroy the person that's angry. In Ephesians 4:29 through 32, it says, let no corrupt word proceed out of your mouth, but what is good for necessary edification, that it may impart grace to the hearers. Do not grieve the Holy Spirit of God, by whom you were sealed for the day of redemption. Let all bitterness, wrath, anger, clamor, and evil speaking be put away with all malice. And be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God in Christ forgave you. Our mouths have incredible power. It's amazing. We think that, there's an old lie that's become a human proverb. Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That is one of the biggest lies. I can recover from a wound from a stick or a fist a lot quicker than I can from a snide remark. One you heal up from, the other one you don't. Proverbs 18:21. That's why I have that slide up there. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Those who love it will eat its fruit. Now there are some that love the death, but there are some that love the life. We get to choose. When we get angry, it really separates us from God. Because we get angry, and a lot of times, it's just righteous indignation. Is it righteous indignation? You're usually mad because of what somebody has said about you, or how you've been slighted, how you've been mistreated. That's not righteous indignation. We put ourselves in this place of judgment. Lord, don't you see? Didn't you hear what they said about me? Didn't you see what they did? I have a right to be angry. I have a right to be ticked off. And I'm going to use that right. You're real close to God at that point. Don't you care? I'm the victim here. Proverbs 19:11 says, the discretion of a man makes him slow to anger. The discretion of a man, slow to anger. And his glory is to overlook a transgression. His glory is to overlook a transgression instead of keeping a record of rights and wrongs. That's not a big deal. The Lord forgave me of a lot more than what you've ever done to me. I'll overlook this. One of the great lines for the day is, Speak when you're angry, and you'll make the best speech you'll ever regret. Proverbs 13:3 says, "He who guards his mouth preserves his life, but he who opens wide his lips shall have destruction." Yeah, our mouths can bring life and they can bring death. But when we are trying to bring death on someone, they bring death to us instead. We may hurt someone, but it hurts us far worse. Guard your mouth. Proverbs 29:11. A fool vents all of his feelings, but a wise man holds them back. There was a time when they were thinking that it was a great therapy, it was a great release for people to just yell out and express, vent all of their feelings. That makes you feel good for a nanosecond. And then you need to do it more and more and more until you can't control yourself at all. That was the stupidest thing that pop psychology ever came up with. No, don't vent your feelings. Instead, keep them. Well, yeah, but if you keep them bottled up, then it'll just blow up. I didn't say to keep them bottled up. You give them to the Lord. You just give them to Him. Let Him deal with it. He's able. We are not. When we try to handle stuff, it goes south quickly. So we just give it to Him. Anger's not always wrong. God made us in His image, and He can get angry. Look at when Jesus cleaned out the temple, John 2:16. Nehemiah, chapter 5, verses 1 through 8, Nehemiah gets ticked off at the people because he has built the walls. He's made them secure. And yet the rich people of the city are oppressing the poor. So he's mad. Be angry and do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your wrath. Again. See, the thing is, and I think the key, is if I'm angry at the right things, what is righteous indignation? I am ticked off when I see people aborting innocent babies. I am ticked off when I see people oppressing other people. That's righteous indignation. That is having the mind of God. When I'm ticked off at the way I'm treated, that's a different story. Then I've got the mind of Dan. That's a horrible thing. And I was talking about me, not you. Nice. What causes anger? Well, in Mark 7:21, it says it's a sinful heart. Really? I thought it was a character trait. I thought it was a genetic deal that was passed on from father to son. No, it's a sinful heart. Luke 15:28 says that it shows pride. That's really what it is. I have a right to be angry. People should treat me better. Don't they know who I am? They probably do. If my anger is all about my rights, I'm already in court. I really am. I don't have to be taken to court. I'm already in court. I'm presenting my case. But Lord, didn't you see this? And if the Lord's not listening, well, then I'll tell other people. And I'll get them on my side. Or at least over in my mind, I'll replay the tape over and over again and make it worse and worse and worse. That's what anger does. It builds on itself. It's a horrible taskmaster. And it will take us to court. And one thing leads to another. We'll go from saying, well, you worthless idiot, to you moral reprobate. And we're in danger. We're in great danger. We don't dare let it go on. There's remedies for this. We'll look at 2 Kings 5:19 through 14. There's a guy he was a Syrian general by the name of Naaman. Interesting character. He had leprosy. He was told that there was a cure for his leprosy if he would just go and talk to a prophet in Israel. Now this is a humbling thing for a Syrian general to do, to talk to these ragtag Jews, to talk to this prophet, but he goes because he's desperate. Verse 9, it says, Then Naaman went and his horses and chariot, and he stood at the door of Elisha's house. And Elisha sent a messenger to him, saying, Go and wash in the Jordan 7 times, and your flesh shall be restored to you, and you shall be clean. But Naaman became furious and went away and said, Indeed, I said to myself, he will surely come out to me and stand and call on the name of the Lord his God and wave his hand over the place and heal the leprosy. Are not the Abnar and the Parphar, the waters of Damascus, better than all the waters of Israel? Could I not wash in one of them and be clean? So he turned away in his rage. And all of his servants came near, spoke to him and said, My father, if the prophet had told you to do something great, would you not have done it? How much more then when he says, Wash and be clean? So I went down and dipped 7 times in the Jordan, according to the saying of the man of God, and his flesh was restored like the flesh of a little child, and he was clean. What would have happened if he hadn't listened to his servants and giving that great logic? Look, if he asked you something hard, wouldn't you have done it? Well, yeah, I could have earned that. But he wouldn't even come out and talk to me. Doesn't he know who I am? He knew exactly who you were. You need to know who you are. Try it. He would have probably had leprosy all of his life. Probably killed him if he hadn't humbled himself and went down. Sometimes we can cheat ourselves out of blessings when we don't do what we know is supposed to be the right thing. Proverbs 15:1 says, A gentle answer turns away wrath. Don't try to fight fire with fire. When somebody else is mad, just like Naaman, give wise counsel. If they're mad at you, give a gentle answer. Don't try to fight fire with fire. That's like trying to fight darkness with darkness. That doesn't do anything. It just makes things more dark, if that's possible. You only fight darkness with light. What about fighting fire with fire? Well, that's a special case because it destroys the fuel so that the fire will go out. But when you're fighting anger with anger, you're not taking away the fuel, you're adding to it constantly and making it worse and worse. It doesn't work that way. Don't use that expression for that. Therefore, if you bring your gift to the altar, and there remember your brother has something against you, if you're angry with your brother, don't give place to wrath. But what if your brother has something against you? This gives an indication that there's a legitimate gripe that somebody has against you, and you know about it, and you just ignore it instead of making it right. It says, leave your gift there before the altar and go your way. First be reconciled to your brother and then come and offer your gift. You're not going to help, you're not going to do anything for God if he's telling you to make it right with someone else and you refuse. I've seen a lot of people try to get out of this. I've seen people separated from brothers and sisters knowing that they've done something, but they instead of humbling themselves and making it right, instead of apologizing, or they apologize in a way, well, I'm really sorry that I did this, but if you hadn't done, that's not an apology. That's an excuse. well, I'll just ignore that person and time will heal all wounds. No, it doesn't. Not those kind. You may forget, or you'll try to. If your brother or sister has something against you, go to them. Make it right. Don't think that God is going to gloss over it because you're increasing your tithe or something. It doesn't work that way. I've seen people that try to escape reconciliation by getting involved with ministries, Bible studies, trying to work like beavers. And they put themselves under a law instead of just acting on the grace of God. God's not going to bless you when you ignore his voice. It doesn't work that way. Agree with your adversary quickly while you're on the way with him, lest your adversary deliver you to the judge hand you over to the officer, and you be thrown into prison. Assuredly, I say to you, you will by no means get out of there till you paid the last penny. Don't think that God's going to bail you out because of your rebellion. Back when we go to jail all the time, talk to the prisoners, that was a common thing. They would expect, if they made a decision for Christ, that they would be let out of jail, that they would be free. Jesus didn't tell the thief on the cross, well, because you made this confession of faith, you can crawl off of that cross and go home to your family and live a prosperous life. No. So you'll be with me in paradise. That was all he could do, but he wasn't going to take him out of the responsibilities he had for society. You've heard that it was said of old, you shall not commit adultery. But I say to you that whoever looks at a woman to lust for her has already committed adultery with her in her heart. First, it's just a look. Second look might be appreciation. Curiosity. It's dangerous. Third look, they start staring and fantasizing. I've heard people that they get so involved on the internet with pornography. I didn't think that was a big deal, but it's turned out to be a bigger deal than what I thought. It destroys relationships. Causes people to regret their own actions and causes them to compare their spouse with artificial beauty. It's ridiculous. Jesus was saying it's not just the act, it's the intent of the heart. All of this has been intents of the heart. Anger causes murder. A leerful look causes adultery. And I don't know how it is with ladies, but I know how it is with men, because I've never been inside of a lady's skin. I don't know how they think. I just know they think differently. But I know how men think. And one of the things that has always helped me in this whole deal, because we are so visually attracted, I'm going, this is my sister. Well, what if you don't know him? This might be my sister. Would you lust after a sister? That's just sick. That's even sicker than I can imagine. So, that's a very freeing thing. It's my sister. I'll protect, not lust after. And when we start getting bored with our mates, think about that. You're actually disdaining the gift of God. God has given you a husband. God has given you a wife, depending on what you are. and then you start disdaining that gift? Man. So you're disdaining God. How do you keep your relationship fresh? Well, again, I go back to Philippians 4:8. We need to train our minds, apply it to our spouse. Finally, brethren, whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report, if there's any virtue, if there's anything praiseworthy, meditate on these things. Think about the things that attracted you in the first place. Think about the great things. Then I have up there Proverbs 5:15 through 23. And this is mainly for men. This is one of my favorite commandments in the Bible, and it's easy to keep. And I'm not going to read through it. You'll have to look at that on your own. But notice Proverbs 5:15, 23. If your right eye causes you to sin, pluck it out, cast it from you, for it's more profitable for you that one of your members perish than for your whole body to be cast into hell. And if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off, cast it from you. It's more profitable for you, for your members to perish than for your whole body to be cast into hell. Deal radically and violently with anything that's going to take your mind away from God or that's going to cause you to sin. Now, you know that he's not talking specifically about plucking your eye out, because one eye is not going to make you sin over the other one. Well, which one is my lustful eye? Or which one is my lustful hand? No, it's in the brain. Sometimes that's too hard to find to throw it away. But get rid of it. Unbridled lust. Another little quote that I thought was really great was, unbridled lust is a cannibal committing suicide by nibbling on himself. You just keep wearing away. Just keep chewing on something until it kills you. Lust is an addiction. It's not a disease. I don't care what kind of program says it is. It's not. It's a choice. It's an addiction. And it can be dealt with. James Dobson made a quote years ago that I thought was just pretty cool, that I've kept in my files. It says, even if marriages are made in heaven, man has to be responsible for the maintenance. Because that is true. We maintain our marriages. God gives them to us. But it's up for us to take care of them. Furthermore, it's been said, whoever divorces his wife, let him give her a certificate of divorce. But I say to you that whoever divorces his wife for any reason, except for sexual immorality, causes her to commit adultery. And whoever marries a woman who is divorced commits adultery. We'll get into this more when we get into Matthew chapter 19, because Jesus elaborates on this a lot more. But the basic gist of it is, in finding loopholes, the Pharisees were going, okay, well, I can't commit adultery, so I'll just divorce my wife. There are two well-known theologians, Hillel and Shammai. Shammai was a conservative, Hillel was a liberal, and he said that, well, if your wife displeases you, you can give her a certificate of divorce, like Moses said. And so if she cooks your eggs too long, or she just doesn't look as attractive as she used to, or whatever, you can come up with any excuse you want, and you can divorce her. Now, that was a great idea if they going, well, you know, I'm tired of this, and I think I want to try a new one. So I divorce. Instead of committing adultery, I'll just divorce her. Jesus is saying that doesn't cut it. You can't divorce her for any reason. If she's not been unfaithful to you, you can't do it. And you can't go for somebody else that have divorced their wife, have gotten rid of her because of any reason, because then you're committing adultery. So don't go into this wife swapping thing. Don't go into this loosey-goosey stuff. Like I said, we'll get into this more when we get into Matthew chapter 19. But basically, it's don't look for a loophole. Again, you've heard it said that of those of old, you shall not swear falsely, but shall perform your oaths to the Lord. But I say to you, do not swear at all, neither by heaven, for it is God's throne, nor by the earth, for it is his footstool, nor by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. Nor shall you swear by your head, because you cannot make one hair white or black. This is before Grecian formula. But let your yes be yes, and your no be no. For whatever is more than these is from the evil one. Wedding vows. Crossing your fingers. Swearing by something literally implies that you're lying all the other times. You ever hear somebody when there's going, it's because I was sitting in a restaurant and listening to these two young girls talking to one another. And it was just amazing because it seemed like every few minutes I would hear this, and I swear to God, and I swear to God. I was just going, you shouldn't swear falsely by his name. I've seen what happens with that sort of a thing. See, it meant nothing. But after a while, people think that they need to take an oath because they won't be believed if they are just talking normally. What does that imply? That means that they lie all the time. And Jesus is just saying, if you have to have something else to convince somebody that you're not lying, something's wrong. And it is. Does that mean when you go to court and they say, do you swear to tell the truth, you're not supposed to do that? No, it isn't implying that. It's saying don't try to convince somebody by taking an oath or making a vow. If they can't trust your normal word, then they can't trust anything else you put on it because you'll start compromising that too. It's from the evil one. Now, let your yes be yes and your no be no. If you'll notice as we went through these sections that one thing, it was showing how the righteousness of the Pharisees weren't all that righteous. And Jesus is going to go more and more into that when he confronts them about stuff. It's not about what we do and what we don't do. What we do and what we don't do is because of how we think. It's because of our attitudes, because of our commitments. It's not the actions themselves, it's the things that lead to the actions. So yeah, the Beatitudes. Blessed are those who are poor in spirit. Then he'll make us wealthy because we'll have his righteousness instead of our own. Blessed are those who are mourn because of their sin. Then we'll celebrate life because he's taken that great ugliness away from us. And he'll comfort us so that we no longer mourn because it's all about him. It's not about us. It's a great freeing thing. We'll learn how to treat other people because of what he's doing in us. The Sermon on the Mount is the greatest sermon ever recorded. A sermon that cannot be kept by the letter. It can be kept because we're poor in spirit. It can be kept because we are fully aware that it's only by his grace, it's only by his mercy that we can come before him. And then he changes our attitudes. He changes our motivations. He fills us. We crave his righteousness. So he gives us his. Makes us right with him. Gives us the power to be peacemakers. God is so good. The Sermon on the Mount is such a great sermon. But you have to go through the Beatitudes. And anytime you come into any of it, you have to go back to the Beatitudes. That's how it all applies to us. When I first had this, put the slides up there, Rachel was looking at the stuff and she's making sure that I didn't misspell any words and all of this kind of stuff. She makes me look a lot better than what I am. But she giggled. And I going, what? And she says, you have a lot of slides on anger management. And I said, yeah, because that is something that I think that the Bible tells us that we need to have control over. It is more grievous to us and to God than we like to give it credit for. How do we handle all of this? We simply go back. Lord, I am poor in spirit. I'm sorry. I want you to have your way with me so that I can truly represent you. And that may cause all kinds of persecution. That may cause all kinds of rejection. But that's okay. You've given me the privilege of being salt and light in a bland and dark world. So I am thankful. Thankful that you counted me worthy, because I know that I'm not. Let's all stand. Father, we thank you so much for the way that you continue to bless us, remind us, equip us for the life that you bought. So, Lord, as we go from this place, help us to not look at people as we like to look at them, but to look at them as you. They were created in your image. They're not worthless. They're not fools. They're people made in the image of God. So help us to share how they can be fulfilled and be all they can be in you. Thank you, Jesus. And all the saints said, amen.